House, Council Member Aaron Dickinson will present accommodation to the family of the late Joe Paradise, recognizing his many years of dedicated public service in the field of engineering. Oh, it's hard to do. Aaron, you're going to have to kind of speak a little bit loud because you're not by the mic and it's hard to hear. Yeah. Okay.
In the highway design and construction industry. There it is. The last 16 years he spent with the Summit County Engineers Office from January 2009 until 2025 as Deputy Director of Engineering Services. And whereas Mr. Paradise was responsible for project coordination with Summit County's parks, most notably obtaining a grant for the Cuyahoga Valley National Park pedestrian bridge and administering the project on their behalf. This bridge spans the Cuyahoga River and allows thousands every year to safely access Cuyahoga Valley National Park's Visitor Center and all the trails nearby. He was also responsible for starting the process of replacing the North Main Street Bridge over the Cuyahoga River, also known as the High Level Bridge, a massive undertaking that involved early planning contracts, a life cycle cost analysis, grant coordination with the state and federal governments in order to secure $9.1 million in grant funds to begin the design process. And whereas Mr. Paradise served as the Summit County Engineers Office liaison with the Ohio Department of Transportation, getting major joint projects done, such as the $9 million revamping of the Canton Road, State Route 91, and US 224 intersection, and the Copley Circle intersection improvement. He also was a member of the Summit County Planning Commission and AMAT's Technical Advisory Committee and Policy Committee, Joint Safety Committee of Bath, Copley, and Fairlawn, and the Township Association of Summit County, among many other transportation and engineering-related associations. Known for his ability to identify projects that would score well in various grant programs and developing plans to have such projects shovel-ready for when the funding opportunities arose, Joe either co-wrote, wrote, or oversaw 90 successful grant applications, bringing a total of $56.6 million in state and federal dollars to Summit County over the last 16 years. His work will help fund projects well into 2030 and beyond. Whereas Mr. Paradise was a resident of Stowe since 2012 and enjoyed golfing, hunting, fishing, camping, and was very involved in his community. Preceded in death by his parents, John and Betty Paradise, wife C. Lee Paradise, and his brother, Jimmy Paradise, he's survived by his children, Andy, Jessica Paradise, and Lisa Brian Paradise, Grandchildren, Alyssa, Logan, Sophia, Helen, June, and Casey. And this says one more on the way, but I suspect that's that one. Aw. Bob, Rose, and Vern Michael, Pam Paradise, as well as many loving nieces and nephews. Joe Paradise was more than an engineer. He was a builder of communities, a guardian of standards, and a tireless public servant. His work ethic, his sharp mind, and his unwavering commitment to excellence have left a mark on Summit County and on all who had the privilege of working alongside him. Now, therefore, be it known by all and declared by the Council of the County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council recognizes the tremendous dedication, professionalism, and service to the community that Joseph K. Paradise provided in his lifetime. We urge all citizens to join in honoring his memory on this 27th day of October in the year 2025. You don't have to, but if you want to say something, okay. You don't have to. You can say something if you want to, but you don't have to. But he's already sorely missed, but he's had a big impact that will last for a long time for the people of Summit County. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Take a picture? Good?
I'm just giving them a few minutes to. Next on our agenda is Chris Starr from Valor Court, who will present a brief video to council. Before I have them come on up, Mr. Wilhite, do you have a few things to say about Valor Court?
No, I just wanted to invite Valor Court to show the video that they just completed on the court. It is outstanding. The work of Valor Court is outstanding, and they debuted it 2 weeks ago at the Veteran of the Year Award at Veteran Services Center out on Waterloo Road, and it is just very, very compelling, and I thought it'd be great for all of us to see that. And to my colleagues on council, any meetings or any opportunities that you have that you could show this video, Chris would be happy to take it out and share it, because it really tells the story of Valor Court and how incredibly important it is to those that it's serving. So Chris, you're welcome to say a few words.
Thank you, Councilman Wilhite. Thank you to the Council for having me. I'm Shapiro, County Executive. I've never spoken before the County Council before, so I'm a little nervous. But we really appreciate this opportunity to showcase what Valor Court does for veterans in our town under the leadership of Judge Susan Baker Ross. We've been able to touch so many lives of our veterans and their loved ones. This video kind of showcases what we do in Valor Court. Again, thank you to the County Council for appropriating all the funds, most of which we received federal grants for. This video was made for a federal grant, which you guys play a big role in educating yourselves on the specialty dockets and appropriating those funds so we can do stuff like this and so we can touch the people who are showcased in this video.
Chris, is there somebody else here that would like to speak on your behalf too? Is there somebody here to speak on this? Oh, not that, no? Okay. Okay, thank you.
When you got a combat veteran, man, you don't come back the same. Nobody really understands that but another combat veteran.
Your whole life is turned upside down when you're in the service. They kind of build you up and make you who they want or need you to be. So coming home, it was isolating and it was lonely. Doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, places that I shouldn't have been, you know, the criminal activity that comes along with self-medication. I don't think anybody is ever prepared for the consequences that comes with the criminal justice system. And a friend of mine was currently going through the program of Valor Court. But because of him, you know, this program has definitely changed my life.
The mission of the Valor Court program is to transform the lives of the veterans that come before us and to enable them to go on to live happy, productive lives. Many of our veterans come back from combat with invisible wounds that you can't see. They have PTSD, they have trauma, scars, they have developed substance use disorders, alcohol use disorders. In this program, they are able to address those issues and get past them, to develop new tools and new ways to deal with those issues and to heal so that they can go back out into society and be even better than they were.
And once I share my own experience, strength, and hope with them, you know, we can build up that trust and camaraderie, because so many of our veterans, especially from the Vietnam era, which would have been my era, came back and there was nothing like this available. A lot of people fell through the cracks.
I got out here in the streets and, you know, I felt that I let my mom down, so, you know, I was seeking something to try to take me away or take me, you know, get me out of that. And so I turned to drugs and alcohol. So 20 years later, after all this drinking and drugging, you know, I got caught with some dope.
I lived in California for about a year after the military. I ended up hanging out in the streets with some people I shouldn't have been hanging out with. I ended up with a felony 3, and that was my first introduction into Valor Court. I'm a 2-time graduate of Valor Court, so 1 time wasn't enough for me.
Chris Starr from Valor Court came to interview me at the jail, and he says, I got something for you, you know, I think it'll work for you. That's where Valor Court came in at. It'll work for all veterans because we're used to taking orders. And in Valor Court, you had to do the next right thing.
I absolutely believe many, many people are out there who don't deal with their issues, and so they're just like one bad day away from a felony. So when they come into our court, we really want them to get involved and really deal with all of those issues so that they can be healed in a new way. I think the graduations are just the ongoing story, because each week I meet with our veterans, I talk to them, and we deal with whatever issues are going on each day, and I see a little bit of a change in them. But when we get to the graduations, that's when we really see their change. We can look back and say, this is who you are when you got here, and now look at who you are today. And it is incredible. Well, a lot of the veterans organizations just come alongside us. We have the Knights of Columbus, we have Truth and Honor, helps us with housing. IBH does, you know, a great job when they need rehabilitation. Warrior's Journey Home is huge. They are all about the invisible wounds. And then, of course, Tyler's Redemption Place. They have so much programming out there. And so if we didn't have them, we would be really limited in what we can offer people. So each partner that comes in feels like a unique need. And the more partners we have involved, the more options we have for them, the better we are able to really help them on a deeper level.
When you join the military, they tell you gotta be a person of integrity and all this, that, and the other. And that's just being honest. Even with yourself, you have to be honest with yourself first. And after that, everything will fall into place.
After I graduated Valor Court, I quit my job and I made a plan to go to Texas, and I went to dog training school. I ended up getting off Suboxone and consider myself recovered. It feels like a distant past that is almost surreal.
Everyone's journey is different. Everyone is asked for different things in this program, and it is designed for each person in mind.
These are really good people. They chose to go and serve our country. They deserve to have all the resources we have available to them.
You know, just another success story. I don't want to make this about myself, but I'm a graduate of Valor Court. 2016, after 5 years in prison, I came home on a judicial reentry. And Judge Amy Gorble Jones, the founding judge of Valor Court at the time, saw something in me maybe I hadn't seen myself. And she gave me an opportunity to volunteer with the court, and then offered me a job. I think some people thought maybe that was a little nuts. But she let me work at the courthouse, and I've been there ever since 2019. So there's hundreds of success stories that have come out of Valor Court because of the county's support, because of the community support of what we do there. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes. Sorry. If there's any questions from the council.
I want to say thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you. If anyone would like that video, please feel free to reach out and I can send it to you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's it. Okay. Chris, thank you. I just, before we move on, I just got a late request here. So for a gentleman to come on up and address council for the Ohio what? You can't. Okay, it's the Chinese Communist Party post of the biggest threat to the world. Am I right, sir? Would you like to come on up?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. As an American citizen, I feel responsible to share this my understanding of the threat from the Chinese Communist Party to this world, to the United States. You know, 26 years ago, 100 million Chinese people, Falun Gong practitioners, have been persecuted by the Chinese Communist Party because they follow 3 words: truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. How they persecuted them? Arrest them, beat them up, even slaughter them. Fired from jobs, kicking from schools, everything. One example, Chen Peimin, he was organ harvested. His chest had been opened 14 inches from here to the back. His liver and lungs and organ harvested. After the second, before the second operation for organ harvesting, he escaped, and with the help of U.S. Undersecretary of the State Secretary, he came to the States, hoping he's safe here, but he's not. He has been followed, traced, and his car tires slashed and created a car accident trying to kill him. His house was broken into it, but nothing was stolen. Because he's the only survivor from Chinese organ harvesting. But these things happen all in the United States. I want you to know this. And actually, this is not, well, for instance, in OSU, Falun Gong practitioners, as students there, their car was slashed or broken just because there are Chinese words, truthfulness, compassion, forbearance. Why is it so? The Chinese propaganda is so strong. They control the whole country for 70 years. They brainwashing. And now they are using the techniques to brainwash the Americans and especially Chinese. They spend $7 billion on Chinese newspaper and media, television, radio, and so on, and also on the US newspaper and TV. How is the influence? Because the Chinese who came here usually only read, listen, watch in Chinese. But those are all Chinese communist ideologies. So even if you have a Chinese colleague, you ask for the idea, that does not mean her or his own idea. It's all the brainwashing ideas. Be careful. And Shen Yun, Falun Gong, all have been defamed by Chinese ideology. And you know Shen Yun perform 800 performances each year in 200 cities around the world. So many people enjoy it, but the Communist Party, Chinese CCP, does not equal China, does not represent Chinese people. They try to stop it. How do they do it? Even in Kennedy Center in February, they sent a bomb threat to Kennedy Center. So they have to evacuate to examine the threat. In the past 2 years, they sent 250 bomb threats or mass shooting threats to 400 countries around the world. In Cincinnati, performing was going on. They sent 2 fire alarm, and just opposite the performing center, they said that the fire is going on. So 8 fire engines came along and blocking the way.
Yeah, sir.
Then the second day also goes.
Yeah, sir, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't get, could you please give your name and your address for the record?
Sure.
Yeah, could you
wrote
please
there.
repeat it? And
Oh, my name is Tianlun Jian. My address is 3568 West Boulevard, Cleveland, Ohio 44111.
And I apologize. I before you began, I should have told you that, you know, we have 3 minutes, and I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't know you were coming in. I apologize. But thank you for coming in. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's for you. Before we go on to our caucus, tonight we, just a friendly reminder, we have budget hearings that will take place after the council meeting. We have Domestic Relations Court tonight, Court of Appeals, Prosecutor, and CISA. Moving forward, there are no motions. There are 13 first readings. There are 3 first reading passage requests, 2025-295. Heidi Swindell.
Hello, Heidi Swindell, Summit County Engineers Office. This first one we have is to actually approve the vacation of Wyoga Lake Road. We had the public hearing last week. Happy to answer any questions about that, though.
Any questions? Okay, thanks, Heidi. Next is 2025-296. Heidi?
This is an additional easement that we need, a drainage easement for when we replace a culvert on Chocolog Road. Council previously approved 2 easement purchases. We changed the design plan a little bit, so we just need an additional easement. We reached out to the property owner. She has agreed to our offer of $300. It's about 300 square feet, and it's an easement, so it's pretty cheap. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Heidi? Dave, you okay with this one? Those two? You okay with them? Next is 2025297, Phil Montgomery.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Phil Montgomery from the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget. We have before Council this cycle's appropriation legislation. The first item is a budget adjustment to move between line items to finish up the year. The next one is an increase of appropriations of $1.1 million to our employee benefit stop loss. As Council should be aware, we continue to watch our self-funded healthcare fund, and this is one of the areas where we're paying out a little more than we anticipated this year, so we need to increase the appropriations to meet the end of the year expenditures. I will be bringing another appropriation to Council for the actual healthcare fund itself in the next round of legislation, so just a heads up on that. We have an increase to employee benefits to professional services. This was an increase to a consultant's contract that needed to be happened in the last renewal of that. The last item is another line item appropriation. If we go to page 2, we have a grant appropriation to close out a grant, moving between the lines. The second one, $1.2 million for a 4-year brownfield grant from the EPA. We have a new grant, or year 2 of a grant for the Area Agency on Aging. On to page 3, we have an additional appropriation for change order number 2 for the elimination of the Hudson sanitary sewer. The next one is the appropriation of funds for an insurance claim that was made to the Department of Sanitary Sewer Services, so we can actually hit the expenses against that claim. The next one is an appropriation adjustment for the Board of Elections to get through the last couple months with the upcoming election. On page 4, we have an appropriation for funds that the Board of Elections received from the Secretary of State, so we can actually move expenses off the general fund to use those reimbursements up. We have several grants for the Common Pleas Court, and then we have an ARPA grant also for the Common Pleas Court to close that one out. It's an adjustment. The last item on page 5 is an increase in appropriation for developmental disabilities. This is that monthly appropriation we bring to Council when we have to adjust for year-end encumbrances that closed for how they operate. The page 6, we have grants for the Sheriff's Department, 3 of them, and looking at adding additional funds to transfer cash balances. So this is moving from one year to the next in the project ledger, so we have to be able to transfer that cash. So that's what those 4 transfer in and outs are. The last 2 on this page, we have the appropriation for the sheriff for the CPT pilot program, and then an additional appropriation for the engineer for the Stormwater Management District to get through the rest of the year. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Phil, just a quick question. Are most of our grants, or all of our grants, are they a reimbursement basis? We have to expend it and then we get reimbursed, or do
Yeah.
they send us the funds?
No, almost all of them are reimbursement based, so we have to draw funds down. And some of them have match requirement and some of them don't.
I'm just looking to see.
And Phil,
Yep.
can you clarify what the CPT pilot program is?
Nope.
Nope, okay, thanks.
But I will find out and get back to you.
Are there any further questions? Thank you, Phil. There is one late filing, 2025307. We have Executive Eileen Shapiro here tonight. She would like to say a few words.
I'm going to let my team give you the details, but what is going on at the state and federal level for SNAP, which is food assistance, has hit a critical path. People will not have food. They're starting in November. Excuse me. The benefits that they've had so far are in danger, and right now, it's anybody's guess as what will happen. I just have to tell you right now, it doesn't look very positive. So we here in Summit County, hopefully with your assistance, will do as much as we can to make sure that people have food on their table for as long as we can. So the legislation that you're going to see tonight is the first volley of ours to not only have the county do something, but have our communities do something to be able to get people. You'll hear some of the numbers that they're going to talk about. They're staggering. I think there's 77,000 people on SNAP in Summit County, and they may not have food in a couple of weeks. So we need to do something. To the extent that you can help in your communities, we are more than happy to have you do that and be partners with us in spreading the word, making sure if somebody's struggling that they see if there's something else that we could offer that might help. I don't know what the answers are. JFS is working on some programming, but you're going to see some legislation that is at least hopefully get them through an initial bump. And we hope that we will have something else to offer them with our communities coming together that help. These people live all across the county. It's not just a one city issue. So want to make sure that you're aware. Who's Brian or Greta?
Well, I'm going to kick it off and hand it off to Greta here, who will get a little more in the weeds with it. But as you saw from my email this weekend,
Thank you.
obviously this has been brewing over the last several weeks with the federal government shutdown. They do not have enough appropriation to essentially pay out food stamp benefits, SNAP benefits for the month of November for the 42 million residents of this country who are in receipt of that. So this is, as the executive said, maybe the first initiative, maybe the quickest in terms of being able to get something off the ground from the county, $250,000 of additional food stamp dollars from the Department of Job and Family Service out of TANF funds, which will be added to the original $324,000 that council approved back in July, or June, I don't know. I put it in the resolution. Additionally, Mr. Jalbert told us today that none of those funds have yet been drawn. But with that, I'm going to kick it over to Greta to elaborate in more detail.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. While I get started, I'm going to ask Katie Carver-Reed to take the podium. Katie is the Vice President and COO at the Akron Canton Food Bank and our direct contact as we've worked through the logistics of getting you this legislation. Again, apologies that it's a late filing emergency request, but I think all of you have seen the news and know why this is so important. I know that you all saw the email that Brian sent this weekend, but I thought it was important to talk about a few of the numbers. 42,686 households in Summit County receive SNAP benefits. There are 77,160 individuals in our county who rely on SNAP benefits. That's over 13% of our population here in Summit County who rely on this benefit. In the city of Akron alone, more than 1 in 4 residents receive SNAP benefits. And I think that's worth repeating. More than 1 in 4 residents of the city of Akron rely on SNAP benefits. So what that comes down to, if folks are unmoved by the need to simply feed people, it's $15.5 million a month that goes into our community. It's $15.5 million worth of benefits that will not be put into the community in November. So this means that the farmers market where folks can spend their SNAP benefits are going to see a decrease. And you all know how that trickles down. Those farmers who rely on the SNAP benefit purchases are not going to be able to, do the upkeep to their farm, to make the purchases that they need to make. And that just trickles down to the entirety of our economy. It's important to note that this is just the first step, as the executive said. I want all of you to know that we reached out to CCAO last week. Late in the week, I asked if we could get an audience with the governor's office. They immediately assembled a meeting. We met with the governor's chief of staff this afternoon with a couple of the metro counties from around the state. I'd like to tell you we have better direction. We do not. It continues to be a waiting game to see what will happen at the federal level. We've made inquiries about not only our clients and the recipients of these benefits, but also about our employees. The administrative costs are in place for the first half of November, but we've asked questions and asked the governor's office and state JFS to get back to us about the administrative costs for the second half of November and what that will look like when we seek the reimbursement that we would typically do. So we will keep you updated as we get the information, but just wanted to give you a snapshot of what it looks like across the county. I know that when Brian sent it out, he sent out the map of the county that shows how many households in each of your districts are impacted by these cuts. So at this time, I'd ask Katie to give you a little bit of an update about the increase in demand that they've seen already at the food bank.
Thank you, Greta, and hello, good afternoon, or good evening, I suppose, by now, everyone. As Greta mentioned, I'm Katie Carver-Reed, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. And first, I just want to thank you all for our longstanding partnership. We're really grateful that we have an 8-county region that we serve, but we've had a very long and special relationship with Summit County government, so we're really grateful for all you do already to support our hunger relief network in this community. I also want to thank you, County Executive Shapiro, for just your longstanding support and also your proactive attitude as it relates to what may come to pass. And of course, the county staff as well. You all are just always tremendous to work with, and we're really, really grateful. So as has been mentioned already, we're deeply concerned about what may happen if members of our community lose access to their SNAP benefits. Already, those benefits are supplemental in nature. It's in the name of the program, and so they don't last typically for the entirety of the month. And so a lot of people that visit our network are already SNAP recipients, and when that benefit is spent, in the month, they're reaching out to our hunger relief network. There are 178 hunger relief programs that are emergency programs in Summit County. So those are food pantries, hot meal sites, shelter programs, et cetera. And together we've distributed more than 10 million pounds just in Summit County so far this year, at least through September 30th, and we have another 3 months to go. And so it's a time of heightened demand already. We've seen inflation, the cost of living really hitting families, and there's a lot of just anxiety and uncertainty about what is going to happen now. I had tons of voicemails I had to return today with people in the community saying, well, what happens if I don't get my SNAP benefits? Are you closing too? Can I not access you too? And we made a promise to them that no matter what happens, the food bank will be open. Our Hunger Relief Network, which are amazing nonprofits and churches across this community, are going to be there in service to them. And so again, we're already grateful for all you do for us, and any additional support that can be provided will be used to immediately purchase food and make available to that Hunger Relief Program network that we operate with already. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Council, I'd also encourage you to get on the call tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You all should have received that invitation where we will be discussing this with the cities, townships, villages, and all of their elected officials. Hopefully will join as well so that we can update them on this. I know that you have likely had residents reaching out. A couple of key takeaways from the conversations we've been having. Rollover benefits will still be accessible. So if you did not use all of the benefits that you were allotted in October, you will still be able to use them in November. I know that there are some individuals who try to save some of those benefits so that they can make additional purchases at Thanksgiving. So that will not be impacted as far as we know. Additionally, it's always important to point out that we continue from the Summit County Animal Control to run our pet food pantry. That will be taking place next Tuesday. We often find that there are residents who would rather make sure that their animals are taken care of before they take care of themselves, and we want to encourage those folks to come down on Tuesday afternoon to our pet food pantry. I have some flyers for that if you want to post those in your communities as well.
Is there any questions? Joe?
How did we calculate the amount as far as we're anticipating additional demand because of the lack of SNAP? There'll be extra demand on the, assuming they don't reopen the government in the next few days. But how are we coming up with a number? How long do we anticipate that'll cover you for in order to cover the additional demand?
Yeah, so I can't speak to the dollar amount specifically, so I'll let the county team speak to that. But it is our intention for any of those additional funds to spend them immediately. And so we're going to work with local vendors as much as we can to get a tight turnaround on this product to make sure that we have ample inventory for our hunger relief network.
And I would tell you, Councilman, that the information that the food bank provided to us is $1 equals 3 meals. And so when we look at, trying to make up that vast difference, I mean, it's $15.5 million a month. We could not keep up as a county with that number. So we're going to try and do what we can on the front side to see what it will look like for our community as we move forward, in the hopes that at some point they will get it figured out in DC.
Greta, the $15 million a month, that's the dollars that come to the county and are dispersed to vendors and whoever is part of the program. Do we have a multiplier on the impact from them? If they're not getting that, obviously they have employees, their employees have families, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do we know a multiplier for that to make the story even more impactful?
We don't have that yet. I had conversations with our lobbyist last week and asked him to reach out to the Grocers Association to find out where they are on this and what their movement is. It's been pretty quiet on that front. We continue to ask those questions, but there was a request today from a different county to the governor's office. What about the state rainy day fund? What about, these other funds? It would require the action of the legislature along with the governor to release any emergency funding either for food banks or for individuals.
Folks that are supplying you with food, the vendors out there, the food manufacturers and suppliers, are any of them trying to do anything a little bit over and above right now to help soften that gap? And if they are, do you have any plans to recognize them for their benevolence? I think that's important as we're facing this challenge, that folks out there know that company ABC went over and above to help folks make it through this crisis. Anything on that line's happening?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So in an already challenging year, we've received cuts from the USDA's food programs, and the state of Ohio reduced funding for Ohio's food banks and also Ohio's farmers by 20%. And so we were facing a 5 to 6 million pound loss across our region for food. And so with the generosity of some local donors that have provided financial donations that we're using to purchase food from regional farmers as much as possible and giving away to our hunger relief network, and also some of our partners in food manufacturing like the J.M. Smucker Company as an example, they've been providing additional food items as well. And so we're keeping up with the demand from last year, even though demand this year is higher. We're on pace to, again, distribute 40 million pounds of food across the region, and we wouldn't be able to do that without both financial donors and food manufacturers stepping up to help fill that gap. But we recognize that with what may be coming if the government doesn't reopen, even a 40 million pound year, which is historic for our food bank, will be inadequate to keep up with the demand.
Bethany, you had a question?
Thank you. Could you describe where the funding comes from to the food bank, and does the government shutdown affect your baseline of supplies of food?
That's a great question. So the way in which government funds support the food bank is really through the food items themselves. So primarily that money is spent on commodities. So whether that be in the state program with state farmers and manufacturers, or at the USDA with kind of federal commodity suppliers, we get the food itself. There's a small amount of administrative fees, but really where we feel the impact is when the food doesn't come anymore. And so the way that those programs work, you order pretty far in advance on a USDA catalog. And so our conversations with the USDA have been that anything that we've had on order before the shutdown started will arrive, but we can't place any more orders. We can't plan far out in advance for USDA items. So this shutdown we may feel even if the government reopens in like January or February because of the delays in the ordering patterns and communication with USDA suppliers.
And Councilwoman, it's important to note that food banks across the state already faced a 20% cut in their state funding as well.
Thank you.
If I could add too, Mr. Wilhite, your question about multipliers, normally when we're doing economic development projects, it's assumed 3 to 5 multiplier on those dollars that come in. So that 15 million is probably easily a $50 million impact across the county by the time it trickles through where it goes. One of the things we've discussed, and I think we wrestle with a little bit, and this kind of goes to the question of 250,000. It's a $15 million spend, right, that the federal government's making on food here. Budgetarily, that's not within the realm of anything we could come close to supporting. The other issue, I think, is the lead times, the being able to order food, and I think this is as much as all of us, you guys come into play in this, as we start hearing from the community about needs in various communities and the question of whether we should be directly funding individual food banks or neighborhood groups or where else can we make a difference, and again, with limited dollars, what is the biggest bang for our buck? And it's not lost on any of us. It's November, it's Thanksgiving. And so this may be a continued discussion every week and maybe even beyond when the government reopens as we go through this.
Yeah, and if I can just add quickly, all of the food that would be purchased, if you all move forward with this, would be provided to our hunger relief programs that exist across the county. And so all of that food would go into all of the local communities across Summit County. Anyone else have any other questions for me?
What exactly do you guys, what are you going to purchase with what type of food are you going to purchase?
Yeah, that's a good question. So typically when we're looking at food purchasing for TANF, we look at a few different factors. We look at what's coming in from our other manufacturers and suppliers. We don't want to duplicate things that are getting donated. And then we get feedback from our hunger relief programs about the types of items that they are looking for. And lastly, we certainly look at price point. And so we focus on canned protein items, so thinking about items that can be a whole meal like soups or beef stews or canned tuna, those types of things. We'll also be looking at fresh produce, which we've been purchasing more than ever to distribute out to our community. But we try to also supplement with shelf stable because not all of our programs have the capacity for fresh or frozen items.
Okay. Erin?
I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want to thank County Executive Shapiro and your team for taking such swift action on this. And, I hope that we can continue to do as much as we can do because it's really sad and sickening, really, that this is what is happening and what's coming from our state and federal governments. Our priorities are clearly out of whack, or somebody's are, not yours, but I appreciate the hard work that you're doing under very difficult circumstances.
Thank you. We're very grateful for you too.
One of the wonderful things that I love about this community, in good times or bad times, they come together. So we're sitting here with a strong partner in one area. I've received a phone call from a text actually, from another major partner, which I don't want to announce now because I haven't talked to them. I think there's a meeting scheduled tomorrow about how they can help. And so we have a very giving community. We, at the county level, can't know the people that you know in your communities as well as you do. So we would ask you to think about who might be able to participate or who might be able to give money or whatever it happens to be, so that, unfortunately, I think this is the first bump in the road where you're going to see a lot of changes coming down. And we're the ones that are delivering those face-to-face with people. So we need to think about how we can enjoy as much of our community in this as possible. Our partners and the public that's out there, we have some generous people that might be willing to make a contribution. I don't know what the answers are. I just know we need to hang together and figure out where the resources are that we can leverage, and certainly try and make somebody who maybe's life doesn't look so good a little bit brighter, at least at this point, because they have food on the table.
I would add to tomorrow morning's call, we'll look at this a little bit like we did the small business grants during COVID at the very beginning when we didn't have CARES Act money, and we decided to put $750,000 in and see if we could get another $750,000 from the municipalities, townships. We even got some private donations. And that first round of grants, we were able to generate $1.5 million for grants. And so tomorrow morning's call, some of the approach will be very much like that, challenging them. And it's also probably going to be for volunteer help and anything else that's needed, because the cities, the townships, they're going to hear from these recipients as well. And every one of our municipalities and townships have residents on these benefits.
So we would like them to be engaged in any way that they can, but we certainly would like to come up with a match for the money that we're putting in. But we want the help as well, so. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Council as a whole?
Yes.
Yes, council as a whole. We have routine legislation found on pages 4 through 6. There are no second readings. There are no third readings. Please rise for the pledge led by Councilman Joseph Cajun, and followed by a moment of silence. Roll call.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Hyam.
Here.
Mr. Donofrio.
Here.
Mr. Cajun.
Here.
Ms. Dickinson.
Here.
Mr. Ford. Mr. Wilhite. Ms. Darrell.
Here.
Mr. Lacotte.
Here.
Ms. McKinney.
Here.
Ms. Walters.
May I have a motion to approve October 6, 2025 minutes?
So move.
I have a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
First readings, 2025-295. A resolution approving the vacation of a portion of Wyoga Lake Road located in Boston Township in Council District 1 for council pursuant to Chapter 5553 of the Ohio Revised Code and Section 125.03 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit for council emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-295.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-295. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-296, a resolution authorizing the executive to enter into an agreement for the acquisition of a drainage easement over a portion of 1178 Shockalog Road located in Copley Township in Council District 5 in a total amount not to exceed $300 as part of the Shockalog Drainage Improvement Project for the engineer emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-296.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-296. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-297, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2025 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-297.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-297. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-298, a resolution approving salary adjustments for various classified non-bargaining employees for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2025-299, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Kimball Company for the disposal of sludge from both the Fish Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant Number 25, located in the City of Stowe in Council District 3, and the Upper Tuscaroras Wastewater Treatment Plant Number 36, located in Springfield Township in Council District 8, to a solid waste landfill for a 3-year term from December 1, 25 to November 30, 28, in an amount not to exceed $893,520 for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2025-300, a resolution authorizing the Executive to execute a 5-year contract with the Akron Summit Convention and Visitors Bureau to provide the services of a convention bureau to promote Summit County as a location for holding conventions and to further convention activities in the county for a 5-year term from January 1, 26 through December 31, 30 for its portion of the annual proceeds of the lodging excise tax for the Executive Emergency. 2025-301, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Binkley Incorporated as a sole source for 3 washing machines for the jail in an amount not to exceed $97,215.60 for the Sheriff Emergency. 2025-302, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of Change Order Number 1 to a purchase contract with Evertest Limited Liability Company doing business as EverHealth for on-site drug screen testing services for a 1-year term from December 15, 24 through December 14, 25, and in an amount not to exceed $64,746 for a cumulative increase of 30% for a total amount not to exceed $280,566 for the Court of Common Pleas General Division Adult Probation Department Emergency. 2025-303, an ordinance amending Section 169.07 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit entitled Compensation to Adjust Compensation for Supervisors of the Department of Sanitary Sewer Services during on-call duty for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency. 2025-304, a resolution approving a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to address child abuse and neglect investigations as required by ORC Section 2151 between Summit County Children's Services, all municipal police departments, and the County of Summit, including the Executive's Department of Job and Family Services, the Sheriff's Office, the Prosecutor's Office, the Juvenile Court, and authorizing the Executive to execute the MOU and other necessary documents. Emergency. 2025-305, a resolution declaring November 22, 2025 as National Adoption Day in Summit County, raising awareness about the need for permanent families for children in foster care, recognizing our children and the joy they bring to their adoptive families, and encouraging Summit County residents to secure safety, permanency, and well-being for all children by considering becoming a foster to adopt family for the Executive Emergency. 2025-306, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with CDWG at Omnia Cooperative Pricing for Zoom licenses for the Virtual Court Project and county operations for a 1-year term from November 24, 25 through November 23, 26 for a total amount not to exceed $123,504 for the Office of Information Technology Emergency.
Madam President, I move to amend the agenda to include the late filing.
I have a motion we're going to move on to that, sorry. I have a motion to accept the late filing on 2025307. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chairman, I move to suspend.
Wait, she's got to read it in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. 2025-307, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a grant agreement with the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank to provide emergency food assistance to Summit County residents affected by the loss of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, food assistance in an amount not to exceed $250,000 for the executive's Department of Job and Family Services emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025307.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt 2025307 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt the routine agenda found on pages 4 through 6.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt the routine legislation found on pages 4 through 6. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that would be all for our council meeting. And if no further questions, we're adjourned, and we will move on to budget hearings.
Okay, we'll open up budget hearings, and first on the agenda, Domestic Relations Court. And thank you for coming.
Good evening, Council. Tom McLaughlin on behalf of Domestic Relations. The court is not requesting that any changes be made to the proposed budget for 2026. We plan on operations being about the same as 2025. Our 2 judges, 12 full-time magistrates, 2 part-time magistrates will hear 6,500 new cases along with 1,500 cases that were pending at the beginning of the year. Our Family Court Service Department will do evaluations and make custody recommendations on over 200 families in the county. And our Mediation Department will attempt to mediate over 250 cases to come to amicable resolutions on custody issues and visitation issues for families across the county. We expect those numbers to be about the same for 2026. Beyond the standard operations of the court, we have some access to justice programs we plan on continuing for next year. Our most popular being the Justice Bus program, where the court goes out into the community. We go to an off-site location and we set up a court, and we have attorneys volunteer to help people with their family court issues. And if they come to a resolution, they can put it on the record right there, and then we can file the paperwork when we get back to the court. If not, we send them home with instructions with what they do need to do to come to resolution. We try to do that every other month. Our next one's in December, but we plan on carrying that through 2026. Another program we're trying to develop is with the Akron Board of Education. It's called Legal Aid for Legal Custody. And there is a group of students in the county that have no legal guardian. And we're trying to remove whatever barriers we can for those families so we can get somebody who can make medical, legal, and educational decisions for those students. A program we haven't done before, but we're going to try in 2026, is a settlement week. And when most courts do settlement weeks, there is, they pay mediators to come in, the parties mediate, and then the cost gets split. With domestic relations, there's substantially more training to mediate family law cases, and we have multiple employees with that training, so we will provide the mediation so there's no additional cost to the public. And those are our plans for 2026, in case anybody has any questions. Yep.
How many cases do you have currently that are beyond the 18-month recommendation from the Ohio Supreme Court?
Well, if you're saying 18 months, that would be a divorce with children, because every case type has, I would have to get back to you. I know that we're at about 97, all our cases combined, we're at about a 97% compliance. I don't know how many are in that one case category.
What do you do about those cases that are long past that and aren't resolving?
It depends on the case. It depends on the case. You know, I can't speak to any one specific case, but you know, if it gets so far, you can report to the Supreme Court. They have a reporting website. You can go to our compliance website. But I can't speak to any one particular case.
I'm also curious about the level of oversight over the GAL program and what's happening when the GALs aren't doing their jobs. What recourse does somebody who's dealing with that have?
So if you go to the court's website, under Resources, there's a tab called Compliance, and you can fill out any complaints you have for any service provider for the court. And it'll be reviewed by the administration for the court.
Does anyone look at those in a systematic way? Because obviously litigants are going to be concerned that there will be retaliation if they complain. So is anyone looking in a systematic way, for instance, at the GAL program to say, are these people that are getting paid to do this job actually doing the job they're getting paid to do?
They will be reviewed, yes.
Who reviews it?
Well, depending on the complaint, it would be the administration involved. So it's always going to be the administrative judge. And then if it's a guardian, it'll be the director of family court services because he oversees the guardians.
But nobody's looking at that right now absent a complaint. Is that accurate?
We review, like every year the guardians have so much training. We review complaints as they come in, but there's no periodic review of the guardians.
Who would I speak to if I think that might be a good idea?
You would go to the compliance tab and file a complaint, or you could reach out to Judge Cook if you want some sort of, regular review.
I mean, I think the system's got some problems, frankly. So I think a review like that would be a great idea. So if Judge Cook's the appropriate person to reach out to, I'll be happy to do that.
That's correct.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Next up would be Court of Appeals. Thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm Scott Stevenson, one of the judges at the 9th District Court of Appeals. I am the administrative judge this year, so I am here. Our other presiding judges, Judge Jill Flanagan Lanzinger and Judge Betty Sutton, Judge Jennifer Hensel, and Judge Carr are the five, Judge Anna Carr are the five judges at the Court of Appeals. We are, again, one of the busiest districts in the state of Ohio. There are 12 appellate districts. For 15 of the last 16 years, we've either been first or second in new cases per judge. And the year we weren't, we were third. And I know this year we've already exceeded the number of cases that we had filed last year, so our numbers are going up again. We do all our oral arguments now in person, nothing on Zoom or that kind of video, that kind of process. And we have courts here in Summit County, and because we are 4 districts, Summit, Wayne, Medina, and Lorraine, we have court hearings in each of those districts. Various judges in those courts are kind enough to, or counties are kind enough to let us use their courtrooms for our hearings there. We also, although we don't have Zoom hearings, we do record all of our videos on YouTube. And we have a YouTube channel that people watch our videos. Surprisingly enough, Joe, you see you smiling. We started doing that back in January of 2015. And since that time, we've posted over 2,100 videos. And we have had almost 125,000 people watch our videos for approximately 12,300 hours or 513 consecutive days of watching our videos. So it is surprising to me when I heard those numbers. This year we've had 16,200 people watch our videos, and they spent more than 2,200 hours watching the videos. So that is up from last year, and it continues to go up. And what's that? Well, I don't know about that. And I would have thought you were more interesting than us. So I don't know who's doing that YouTube work for you or how we're advertising to get picked up. It also is, again, all over the world. So our top 5 counties, of course, countries, number 1 is the United States, but number 2 is the United Kingdom, 3rd is Belgium, 4th is Australia, and then lastly, Dominican Republic. Well, lastly, they're our 5th most viewed state. We also have various court subscribers. There are currently 1,300 subscribers to get our information, mostly judges and attorneys and other people. They get that by X, formerly Twitter, or our YouTube channel, or just an email notification service we have out that goes out. All of our court documents are released, our decisions go out that way, so people can keep track of what we're doing and how our new cases are turning out. We're very proud of the fact that we do school visits every year, and we'd like to do more. Over the last 20 years, we've done 50 school visits. And 2024, we did 4. And this year, we will be visiting 5 schools. here in Summit County and our surrounding counties as well. Pretty much every year we go to the University of Akron, and next year I know we have plans to go to Hudson. So we'll hopefully, if any of you know of anyone in your district or here in the county that'd like to have the court come, please get hold of our court administrator, Mike Walsh, who is here, back here. I apologize to introduce Mike. And we also have students come to the court to watch our hearings, from college students to high school students. I know the interns from the public defenders and the prosecutor's office came to watch videos, and we spoke with them. And Hudson High School has the Hudson Explorers that come every year to our court. Turning to our budget, I think it showed initially that we were asking for $4,000 more. That is, as I understand from Mr. Walsh, a bit of perhaps some mistake in what we've done, but what we have done is change where some of our money's gone, and we have $4,000 going to internal services charges that wasn't there before, and wherever that came from, it hasn't been removed yet from that area. So that will be the same budget we've requested since ~22. Our last change to our budget was taking a contract we had for court security and hiring that person as a part of our personnel, and all of our personnel budget comes from the state of Ohio, not from the county. So that is where the bulk of our funding comes from. We are asking for approximately $107,000 this year in our budget because most of our money comes from the state. Because we're the 4 counties, we do get a lot of money from there rather than just you. So we are thankful for that. And I would say that because we are a 4-county district, you are our budgeting authority. We come to you for approval of our budget, but once that budget is approved, Summit County pays 47% of the budget, and the other counties pay the remaining 53%. So we're really asking for roughly $50,000 from Summit County at this point in time. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. It is, we are in a building on Main Street on the 2nd floor. I think it's the old Main Place building. I don't want to know all the names of the building down there, but kind of across from First American. Yes, yes. Thank you, Mike. That is correct. Thank you, Mike. I guess, and Richard could find us too. At least Richard knows where we are, so that's the good news. But we are down there. I think somewhat unfortunately, it would be nice to be at the courthouse. I'm certainly not asking for money to put us there, but at some point in time, had we been placed there, I think that would be a little bit better, but we are where we are. In our area worked very well for us.
And what percentage of cases do you hear there versus in the different courthouses or out in the community, would you say?
Well, I just think it would be nice if we were there in the courthouse. This day and age, we're not transferring files up and down Summit County. Everything's electronic, so it's not a matter of having things get to us, although I say that, and I should know, having been married to the former clerk of Barber Municipal Court, I don't know if they bring files anymore up to the court. So it just is nice to be part of that atmosphere and part of the court, I think. It's a little easier when you're there as opposed to somewhere off by ourselves and kind of feeling lonely at times down there at the Court of Appeals.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you for coming out tonight. You'd mentioned you had some programs, programming with local high schools and colleges. Can you just tell me a little bit more about that and how to access that one more time? Do they come to you, you go to them?
The high schools, we go to them. I think that, and we have our actual arguments scheduled there that day. So we'll have usually 3 arguments and then 3 submitted cases that they don't hear. And our court administrator does a very good job of trying to find cases that involve usually some kind of traffic offense to talk about things that young people may not be doing well and how they're driving, maybe some suppression issues they get to hear about, some criminal cases that are more interesting for them. But it's our full argument there at the high school that we take place. The attorneys come, everyone participates just like they would at court. And I think that's a very good program. I think there's a lot of wonderful questions that we let the students ask us questions, and wonderful questions they ask us about being an attorney and that kind of experience, and also about our cases to the extent we can answer them. The first thing they want to know is how we're going to decide, which we can't tell them at that point in time, but they'd like to know about other things. And I find it to be very helpful. And then we have our programs at the court that we have, or video that we have, which I think is a little better myself. It is a case that's already been argued, so they can, before the date, they can watch, read all the briefs, get an idea of what's going on, then we play the video and ask the questions, and we can tell them at the end, here's what we decided, because that's what they want to know. And if it's at the end of the year, they have a video or a court hearing in May, we probably may not get the decision out because we have 60 days to get our decisions out. We may not get it out before the school year's over, and they may not find out the result, unfortunately. Sure.
Yeah, and I will just say that you have come out, the court has come out to the Talmadge City Schools, and I've gotten really good feedback on how much the students enjoyed that and what a great experience it was for them.
Good, and we very much enjoy it too, so we love that opportunity. Thank you, Council.
Am I up here? Awesome. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I meant that too. How are you? All right. Yes, thank you. Before we get started here, the budget we're submitting is roughly the same as last year. A couple tweaks are we looked at a couple contracts on our child support side, which I think will make us a little bit more efficient there, as well as adding a couple prosecutors to our civil division this year, which I think have more than paid for themselves over the past few months. And for the record, Brian Harnack is nodding yes here for the law department, so I like hearing that as well. Okay, so I'd like to go through a bit of our budget here, starting with child support. Just looking at our performance numbers, I think one of the things you'll notice here is that these numbers are markedly consistent. Summit County is frequently the leading metro area of the 6 metro counties in the state of Ohio, consistently winning awards across all categories. While the goal numbers here for each category in the state is 80%, you're going to see we're far exceeding that in the top 2, a little below on the bottom 2, but we are outpacing almost every other county in those bottom 2 categories. I would say that the 80% goal for arrears is rather lofty, as those cases can go on forever, for the entire life of the parent or the child. So I think what you see is a consistent performance and constantly award-winning as well. Caseload has been going down a little bit over the past few years. I think the easiest answers for this are declining birth rates, as I'm sure you've seen, but also declining divorce rates. So our caseload has gone down. Each case manager, we have 61 case manager, handles about 574 cases per person, and we collect more than $67 million annually. On that note, our staffing history has stayed pretty constant as well. You see that dip in COVID. We struggled to staff during that time, as a lot of other agencies did as well, but we are back to that 120 number where we'd like to stay at. And then again, going through our budget here, we see that kind of consistent increase. There's that little dip there for COVID. Your big increases this year are going to be a 27th pay period, which I understand happens every 11 years. As well as the 2 contracts. So the 2 contracts, one is for Green Court. So we file thousands of documents a year, and we're required to e-file. And we're trying to make that a little bit more efficient. And Green Court is going to allow us to do that. The other one is Clarity. We send out about 5,000 pieces of mail monthly. And I can tell you the few people in this room will remember that we took every envelope that had my predecessor's name on it and put stickers on it, because I like to stretch a dollar, but we're trying to make that more automated as well. So those 2 contracts are the 2 additions to the child support budget this year. Everything else is going to be that extra pay period as well as the cost of living adjustments. Okay, so last year I think our focus was on the criminal and civil divisions. We were dealing with a lot of turnover and trying to figure out how to right-size salaries and kind of invest in our prosecutors, and we did. And I think what you see here bears that out. Actually, what you see here bears that out. Turnover is down, total staff turnover is down, and our applicants are up. Not only are our applicants up, but the experience level of our applicants are also increasing. And anecdotally, last Friday was the bar passage date. This is the first time I can remember that there are people I want to hire and I don't have spots for. That is a big difference from just a year ago where it was constant openings. On the effect on our work here, in looking at basically July to July, so July 1st, 24 to July 1st, 25, and the previous year, you can see that the reformatting we discussed last year, as well as the investment, is just leading to a more efficient office. We are seeing more serious sentences on the serious cases, but I also like to stress the diversionary placements as well. You know, this isn't just about locking people up and locking them up for more, and that's what makes us all safe. It's also how we are addressing problems. I think you saw the video from Valor Court earlier. We're talking Valor Court, we're talking Turning Point, we're talking Hope Court for the mental health issues. We are increasing our diversionary placements as well. So really, I think being able to focus on the most serious cases and making sure that those receive as lengthy of a punishment as befits the crime, but also focusing on those who need the most help and making sure that they get that kind of help. In our civil division, we added 2 prosecutors, Tanya Niemer and Chris Reese. They have both been just incredible assets for the county. Tanya kind of works in a hybrid position for the civil division as well as working with our child supports. And Chris Reese has basically just taken on several new clients himself. Both been incredible additions to the office. And I want to thank the Exec's Office and Budget for working with us to bring those 2 on. Even with these increases that we talked about last year, we're still a good bargain. As you can see, per capita, we are the lowest of the measure of the major metropolitan counties. And again, I think that maybe most startling figure you may remember from last year was our per case cost. We're still at $1,900, under $2,000, while the other major metropolitan counties are $3,000 and well over that. I won't go into this too much again last year because we did cover it, but just how we reorganized. Due to some efficiencies in the office, I actually think there's going to be positions that we do not need to replace within the office. Our case management system has allowed a lot more automation for our support staff. We just have had a few of our support staff retire. They've hit their 30 years. So we had 1 in August, we've got 2 in October. And they've been kind enough to kind of share that we think the workload has gone down and we could probably do with less in this area. And what we're going to look to do there is add investigators to our criminal division. Right now, we do not have a dedicated group of investigators to help prosecutors after indictment kind of address all those issues that pop up as the case goes on. Witnesses who don't cooperate, maybe an investigation where we need more evidence or more information, pictures taken, recordings, more witnesses interviewed, that kind of thing. That's the big adjustment I'm looking towards next year, but trying to solve that internally without affecting the current budget. On that note, with the amount given last year as well as some departures we had this year, we were able to kind of use any excess there to address some merit raises this year on that same kind of pay scale I discussed last year. I'm happy to go more detail, but essentially just making pay ranges based on each level of prosecutor and experience level. So we were able to kind of address those needs in-house this year without asking for any additional money in the budget. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Before we adjourn, Mr. Gibson, would you like to step on up, please? He was a little late, so he didn't put anything in, but he's with the SWAG, correct? And they help the kids in the area, kids that are usually in the system, correct?
Yes. So, I'm a little nervous. But I learned, I want to say first, thank you so much for allowing me to be here and speak to you guys. I want to say, even though he's not here, thank you to Mr. Brandon Ford for allowing me to have this platform as well. Thank you, Ms. Rita, for the support that you've given our program in the past. So my name is Richard Gibson. I'm a 27-year-old executive director of a youth-serving nonprofit that deals in academic mentorship. So we oversee middle school and high school students across the city of Akron, Ohio, partner with Akron Public Schools. And our hope is to help students find our vision, our mission statement, God-given potential. However, during my reign as executive director, I wanted to go deeper into that model and help students find what I see is their purpose. Prior to that, I was a mental health counselor for 5 years. I started on the elementary level working with elementary students, primarily second and third grade, when the diagnosis of ADHD and autism are really defining them so they do not become a statistic within the classroom. I then started working with middle school students, and I recognized that our middle school students needed more positive social behavior, and they needed guidance and somebody in their life to speak positivity into them. Then I began working with along high schoolers, and I recognized that there was a lot of high schoolers in the system. A lot of high schoolers are utilizing drugs as well as maladaptive behaviors. And after that, I was offered a position of a program director, then executive director, to one of the oldest youth grassroots nonprofits within the city of Akron, which is Students with a Goal, which was founded back in 2014. My mission is real simple. It's just to be mentors to youth. And we have thrived at by serving over 175 students from the year of 2025 to now. On top of that, we have helped our students with academic mentorship and success by partnering with Kent State University as well as University of Akron, bringing in tutors to our program in order to make sure that they are beyond a 2.0, in which we ended with our 45 students, 31 of them had a 3.0 and above within our program for the spring semester. On top of that, our students sat there, they thrived. They sat there and said, we wanted something more. And so we took our lowest performing students and we said, come up with a concept for spring break. They sat there and said, we want to learn how to cook, because I recognized and identified that a lot of the students within the program did not know how to cook, and instead they were cooking and providing support for their families when a young person should not. So that grew into them picking up that love, and during the summer we worked with 50 middle school and high school students, partnered with Akron Public Schools and the Youth Success Network, and we taught 50 students how to cook. Though that's what I'm here to speak about, is just the power of academic mentorship, and mentorship because all of you guys right here, I really want you to close your eyes and think back to who you was when you were a teenager. And I asked every single last one of you guys, were you in this spot because did you get to the position you are because of just hard work, or did somebody else look to you and say, I see something in you and I want to push you for success? So as you are going to turn on the news tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Channel 5, you're going to see my face and you're going to see us talk about how prior, when we were on the news, we talked about how many nonprofits, many grassroots organizations were facing tremendous cuts within this community because of the change in grant language, because of DEI, because of a lot of social initiatives being cut. And now you're also, and when you listen tomorrow, you're going to hear how we were supposed to close shop last December. You will hear how we were supposed to close shop this December, but how we have managed to push our program in the middle of adversity, and we are here to stay and pass to the spring and so on. What I want to bring to this committee is that there is power within Akron mentorship. And the students that I'm serving right now are the students that I wish and I hope that they are able to make decisions for my children and for my future as I get older. And just like one day I want to be in y'all seats so I can sit there and help to administration, I wish that they also have that ability to do so as well. And so we have a fundraiser November 11th. It's called Small Place for Swag Challenge. It's where our students are working with local caterers and chefs within the communities and coming up with signature dishes in order to not only feed grant holders, feed stockholders, feed people who are potential funders, but also their families, and show everybody in the community just what the power of Students with a Goal is about. And I would love to get your guys' support in that. Our fundraising goal this year was to at least raise $50,000. I would like to tell you guys that we have made a little bit over half of that. However, what I'm asking this council is if they are, one, willing to support our students, come out and see our program. Come out and try some of the food that the students come out with on Veterans Day as partner with the Akron Urban League. But also, we also ask you guys if you are willing to support the program past November 11th and see what the power of academic mentorship can really do. Thank you.
I
Thank-
on recovery. Because a lot of these kids have been in the system and, not doing so well in school. You know, I mean, you talk, I think that's wonderful. You're up to 3.0 grade average now.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's tremendous. And if you go to the school and see what they're doing here, they're making a huge difference and they need help. Otherwise, they're going to have to shut their doors.
And as we speak right now, my students are currently doing a workshop about boundaries and positive behavior with Hope and Healing right now. So if that is something that you would love to see, or even this Wednesday, we're going to the University of Akron, doing a workshop with them. If those are things that you would love to see that is happening within our community in real time, I would love to invite you guys to it. Thank you.
Thank you.